Hey, Peter, we're recording late on a Sunday night. Best Sunday night HBO series, go.
Call me old school. Sopranos, never changing. Ask me 1,000 times, always Sopranos.
Shocked, maybe? I agree with you. Followed by Game of Thrones, minus the last season. From Wondery, I'm Michelle Beadle.
And I'm Peter Rosenberg.
And this is Over the Top. Here's how this show works. The best stories of the week in sports and pop culture face off to crown a champion, and we answer the simple question, what is the undisputed most important thing on planet Earth this week? We're going to decide this the only way we know how, using Royal Rumble rules. We'll start with two stories and decide which one is more worthy to discuss and which one has to go. After 90 seconds, a new story will be introduced, and we'll have to decide whether we want to keep talking about our current story or switch to the new one. We don't know the order of stories coming our way, but we do decide which ones get thrown over the top rope. Peter, what's up first?
First of all, I just want to say that you having the last season of Game of Thrones disclaimer was the most obvious Beadle coming take of all time.
What are you talking about? It was
I just
horrible.
knew. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. You can't tie up. Everyone wants a nice little bow on these shows. You can't
like
tie up shows that good.
Sopranos did. Breaking Bad did.
Sopranos did. Sopranos was panned by 90% of the people who watch it. They thought their TV went out.
Well, they're stupid. What do you want from me?
But no, of course you feel that. Another Beadle take, because everyone hated the Sopranos finale, not Beadle. Let me guess. You also liked the Seinfeld finale, didn't you?
I did, actually.
Of course you did. All right, let's get into it. Two topics walking down to the ring. The first, the Clippers have struggled mightily. Shocker. Since Jim Harden joined the team, while the 76ers, they've looked unstoppable. The story they're up against to start things off, Josh Dobbs. He needed help finding the Vikings locker room before his first start in Minnesota. Then what he went on ahead and he did, he led the Vikings to his second straight victory. That's right. He came in last week for Jaron Hall. He starts this week. Boom, back-to-back wins. Are we talking the misery that is James Harden and what has happened since he left Philly? Or are we talking the heroism of Josh Dobbs?
So I feel like you're leading the witness, Your Honor. But that being said, I've been a bit obsessed with the Josh Dobbs story. Game one, not knowing your teammates. Oh, I love it so much. So I'm going to do what most of America wants to do. We're going to throw James Harden over the top. Maybe forever. Maybe forever.
Could it be? Can it just be forever? Why
Could it just be forever? I'm sure Westbrook and Kawhi would love that. Peter, I just want to tell you that for all of the years, and you and I have been working this business for quite some time, and some people in this business get a reputation of not knowing who they work with. They don't know the names of everybody on the crews, all those kinds of things, right? Well, it turns out you don't have to. You don't have to know anybody. You don't have to know who you're working with. You don't have to know their names. You don't even have to know where to put your shoes when you take them off. Josh Dobbs is a genius, and also turns out might be the best story in the NFL this season. And sometimes we just need good stories like this. I'm obsessed with it, and I'm rooting for him unlike anyone else in this league.
Here's what I find fascinating about it. You have certain teams, including the two that play in the city that I'm in right now, New York, that cannot seem to find someone who can competently play quarterback. The Jets obviously could not find a backup for Aaron Rodgers. They do not have someone physically capable of playing the position. Daniel Jones goes down. Tyrod Taylor goes down for the Giants. They now have someone who does not know how to play the position. So everyone makes it seem like it's impossible to find a quarterback. Yet Josh Dobbs, who was on a team where the intention was for them to lose, turned out to be good enough to then get traded to Minnesota, a team that everybody counted out once Kirk Cousins got hurt. And without knowing anything, any players, any playbook, is succeeding. Someone make it make sense.
And he wants to be an astronaut. That's my favorite part. Oh, what's that? I'm hearing chanting, and I believe I see some pitchforks. Peter, a tweet of yours managed to piss off the entire Jets fan base when you bashed, oh, dare you, Fireman Ed, as he led a Jet S chant on a plane to Vegas. Do we want to continue talking Josh Dobbs or switch to your Twitter mentions?
I think we've given Dobbs enough. Don't we have to cover
I'm so glad.
the Fireman Ed? Be easy there, Josh. We really like you, but over the top you go. Let's talk about this tweet.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for your support.
Of course.
I knew in my soul when I tweeted, and essentially the not even the gist. My tweet was, if I was on a miserable New York to Vegas flight and I woke up as I'm falling asleep to the sounds of Fireman Ed leading a JETS Jets, Jets, Jets chant, he's going out the emergency exit.
Thank you.
You obviously immediately agreed, as
Yes.
did many others.
Yes.
But I didn't realize there was like a serious contingency of Jets fans that would not only be deeply offended, but take me at face value as if this was an actual physical threat to the great Fireman Ed, who I have no problem with. He's a firefighter. He loves his team.
Sure.
These are all things I, in theory, don't have any problem with. But if I woke up on a plane, Beadle, that 5.5-hour endless trek from JFK to Vegas, in which I swear there's not a comfortable seat to be found, and I heard the JETS Jets, 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 a chant I don't even want to hear at a football game, I would lose my mind. I thought it was a safe thing to say.
No, you were right. Fireman Ed, he left the Jets for a certain period of time. Whatever the reasons might have been, he left. Fans don't leave. Secondly, if I was to so much as be awakened from my Xanax-induced sleep that I need to get on a flight to anywhere,
I've heard that.
This thing from the back, it starts to make its way into my eardrums, I would hope an air marshal, with whatever weapon he's allowed to have, would take care of it.
Well, Beadle, if it was longer than a half-hour flight, we know you'd be completely zonked on whatever drugs you popped in the airport on your way. So
It's called
you'd
anxiety.
sleep right
It's
through.
anxiety. Leave me alone.
That's right. All right. Who do we have coming to the ring now? It's the Cleveland Browns. Yes,
What?
coming hot off the upset of the Ravens on Sunday, proving that every AFC team, even the Ravens, is beatable. All right, do we want to continue talking about Fireman Ed, or do we switch to the current state of the AFC?
Man, oh man, I don't want to give Fireman Ed any more oxygen, although I am fascinated by fans on Twitter who seem to want to white knight themselves into everything. That being said, the Browns? All right, Fireman Ed, much like should have been done on that plane, you're going over the top and out of here, and please just silence.
Yeah.
Silence.
Through the emergency exit and over the top you go, Fireman Ed. All right, let's talk some
What's happening,
and Browns.
Peter? What is happening here? I go to sleep on a Saturday. I think, man, there are only a few more teams left that I kind of trust, and we shouldn't sleep on the Ravens. We haven't been giving them enough play. What is going on?
I know the Ravens going into this weekend were the team where I started having the thought of just like, we're going to look up in mid-January and this team's going to be playing. And we're going to be like, we saw all the signs. Every week when I sort of go over the stats for what the Ravens are, like, this number against the spread and this number against this. And when they face AFC teams and when they face NFC teams, every stat is impressive for this team. They've been fantastic. And then they somehow lose to Cleveland, and not in some sort of like defensive struggle. I mean, practically a shootout with Deshaun Watson and the Browns. So I don't know. It is a sign that maybe everybody's vulnerable in the AFC this year.
Can I play devil's advocate and say that this is probably when sports are the best, though, right? When you have a runaway winner in anything, it's not fun. I remember the complaints. I remember feeling the ways people did when the Warriors seemed to have a monopoly on greatness. I like that this is happening, but I will not be a part of a world in which we have to celebrate a Deshaun Watson-led Cleveland Browns victory. Shame on you, Baltimore. Anyone but them.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? That defense is incredible. I mean, Deshaun Watson has not been the same dude that he was, whatever that was, an eternity ago. But that Browns defense is a problem.
Oh, you hear that? Oh, yeah. That's some sexy music. Wow. Jason Kelce was named one of People's Sexiest Men Alive. His reaction, quote, "I'm not even the sexiest man in my family." Do we want to continue talking about the Browns or switch to debating the sexier Kelce brother?
Well, I need questions, as Cardi B would say. So over the top you go, Browns and Ravens. Beadle, I have to ask you.
Okay, go.
Is this like an ironic thing Like I never thought of Jason Kelce as sexy. So either my ability to appreciate a fine looking man is way off, or this whole thing is one of those like cute ironic things because we know he's really not the sexiest Kelce.
Well, okay, I could argue that because sexy, handsome, good look, those are all very different meanings, right? Just because one is considered good looking, they don't necessarily translate over as sexy, and sometimes vice versa. I'd like to remind the world, and perhaps get your Google boxes out, kids. There once was a time when Gerard Depardieu was considered France's sexiest export. Google that. And then get back to me.
They won't even know how to spell Gerard Depardieu.
Just sound it out. Depardieu. That being said, first of all, the Kelces have the entire world on lockdown. They are winning in every category. They cannot stop. They're every time I turn on anything. And I think there's something about Jason. He's a family man. He's burly and husky. He's got a nice smile. If you really stop and look, he has an album that comes out every Christmas with teammates, has a great sense of humor, and perhaps I should have started there. Sense of humor almost always trumps everything else in the sexy category.
I feel like that was a lot of fluff, though.
No, it wasn't.
Like, have you ever spent one moment thinking, Jason Kelce, sexy?
I mean, I haven't, but I'm sure so.
This is what I hate about these lists when it comes to men. It's always so arbitrary. There's never... I mean, maybe it's just a sign that men are so shallow. They never put a woman at the top of the list. They're like, what about her looks? It's not about her looks. It's her personality is sexy.
No, you guys have
happened.
never once was Tracy Ullman at the top of any list. You guys are the worst monsters on earth. And I mean that with all due respect.
Thank you. And I think that is all due respect. I mean, but she created The Simpsons, for God's sake. Not getting her to the top of the list.
No.
All right.
You guys are the worst.
Last topic before the break. Texas A&M has fired Jimbo Fisher, which means they'll have to pay him $76 million in a buyout over the next 7 years to not coach. All right, do we want to continue debating sexy Kelces or switch over to Jimbo Fisher? I will put my vote in that you lost me at college football and then followed it with the name Jimbo. I'm double out, but I'll leave it to you, Beadle.
But you have to admit the idea that this man who thought he was going to come in and change the culture, well, such an overused word, he won. He won, Peter. But if this is what you want to do, you want to stick with Jason Kelce as the sexiest, I can definitely keep going down that alley because we can start to name people that may not be considered conventionally attractive.
Well,
but
that's
sexy.
where I want to go.
Okay,
that's
then you know what?
Go.
Much like he's going to do now. I almost feel like Jimbo keeps winning. We don't even get to mock him, and he walks away with $76 million. The man's the American dream.
You want to mock him on his way out because he's going over the top right now?
Yeah. Goodbye, Jimbo. Okay, that's all I got.
All we got is a country bumpkin accent. All right, so who else would be a Jason Kelce would make a sexiest list for their personality, essentially?
Like a Steve Martin, perhaps, maybe, I think. I don't know.
So does that mean prime Steve Martin hollers, you're listening?
I mean, that's the thing. I do think that we have levels. Okay, let's do this. Who is a woman that might not be considered, like, let's just say Margot Robbie's the top of the attraction meter. Okay. So there's a woman somewhere that's not that high, but you still consider very, very sexy. I can think of a couple women that are kind of fun looking, but sexy as hell.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I'll say this. I don't think Rihanna is like perfectly like this, the standard of gorgeous that a Halle Berry was or a, Salma Hayek was. But Rihanna's the sexiest woman on planet Earth. I mean, she's cute, but her sex appeal goes beyond her traditional just prettiness. Does that make sense?
This is the problem.
I know. All I did was choose another hot woman.
Do you see why there's a problem in the system?
More interesting than that. I have something more interesting.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to be on the list, but how about this? A guy who could be on the sexiest men alive list told me that he used to have the biggest crush on Michelle Beadle.
That's it. We ran out of time, and that's what you drop?
You might have to stick around. Maybe I'll tell you later. And this is real. This is 100% real. A star in music.
What? Okay, fine. I will finish the show. Now I will. We are halfway through it. You have to stick around. I'm certainly going to have to. Right now, the most important topic of the day is the topic of sexiness and how Jason Kelce is changing that definition. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Over the Top. Peter, what's our next challenger?
Well, Beadle, before we even get to our next challenger, a bit of breaking news as we're recording the show. It's now being reported that Aaron Rodgers is, in fact, targeting a mid-December return from his Achilles injury. Yeah, that was quotes. I did air quotes for Achilles injury. Was it what he said it was? Was it a sprained ankle? We don't know. Was it ivermectin? Horse tranks?
What's he getting injected to heal so fast?
Somehow he's the only man that can come back from an Achilles like this. Either way, can I just say, as a guy who has to make his living talking about sports in New York City, thank you, God. Thank you.
Now we got at least 4 days more.
Or at least 4 snaps more. I mean, can you imagine the level of pressure when he comes back?
But he doesn't care. Is there a more arrogant human being in the world? No.
It's a great point. I mean, by the way, if God forbid it were to happen again, well, what'll happen to poor Fireman Ed? I worry.
Man, the nights I've not slept wondering what Fireman Ed is up to and if he's okay.
You know what everyone always, that's why I always say WWFED.
WW Fed. Nice.
Something like that. All right, speaking of New York quarterbacks, our first topic of the second half, Giants' new QB, Tommy DeVito, still lives with his parents. He says his folded laundry and chicken cutlets are waiting for him after games. Do we continue discussing the sexiest man on earth, Jason Kelce, or do we move on to Tommy friggin' DeVito?
Oh, the irony here is delicious. A man considered sexy and a mama's boy. I'm going to go ahead and carefully and gently, with all the love he's due, just place Jason Kelce ever so lightly over the top. Because as an Italian-born person and a woman who has Italian uncles and relatives, no, Tommy DeVito, no. There's a reason why Italian boys are a no-no for many of my family members. You want to know a story, Peter Rosenberg?
Wow.
True story.
Okay.
My Uncle Maurizio, when he met my Aunt Paola, he did everything. He cooked, he worked, he cleaned. He was actually like a chef. Not a professional one, but could have been. The minute they got married, he stopped doing all of it. Every single part. And no one ever said a word about it. It was just considered the expected. So no, Tommy DeVito, let's not be a stereotype. Let's go against cliches. And Mama DeVito, quit it. You're ruining it for the women ahead of him in his life. Please.
Is a turn I did not expect. This went from talking about Jason Kelce or seemingly talking about Tommy DeVito, who, by the way, is a great story, but he's not great at playing the football.
Well, then how's it a great story?
It ended up being more just sort of like about Beadle's weird dating hang-ups / some sort of Italian upbringing trauma. I mean, there's a lot baked into the ziti of this story, Beadle.
Is this not a therapy podcast? What is this?
Okay, let's talk through it. I mean, first of all, if it helps, I thought he said he folds his laundry.
No, he does nothing. Yeah.
So mom folds laundry and makes the chicken cutlets?
I know these moms. I've seen these moms. And the American version of the Italian mom, it's even worse.
Hey, you know what? I would love to see Tommy DeVito get on a Jersey Shore reboot if this whole foosball thing doesn't work out. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Dude, he'd be great with Vinny. He'd be great. Crush the ladies, boys. Our next challenger. Not a joke. 18-year-old golfer, Happy Gilmore, has committed to play golf at Ball State. Do we continue discussing very public mama's boy Tommy DeVito or switch to Happy Gilmore, Peter?
I think we move on to Happy because the Tommy DeVito story is going to be such a, I'm not trying to diss the kid, but it's going to be such a, hey, remember that guy, Tommy DeVito? There's just not a lot here. When I last looked at the Giants box score on Sunday, he had thrown for 37 yards in the fourth quarter. There's just not a lot there. So I say no more Tommy DeVito. Let's move on to Happy Gilmore. Over the top you go, Tommy. Ayo. Here's the main thing I've heard about the Happy Gilmore kid for a while. It's very, very cute, obviously, that his nickname is Happy, and he plays golf, and he's going to Ball State.
I don't like your tone. I don't like where it's going.
Hear me out. I don't care that much unless he gets on the pro tour and his putter is a hockey stick. I don't care. But it is a perfect excuse for me to bring up a scorching hot take that I think I'd make the case in 2023. Happy Gilmore is better than Billy Madison. I might put it as number one on the Mount Rush of Adam Sandler movies. Thoughts?
Dang, dude. First of all, I just want to shout out, I love that people sort of in my generation and just below that had sex and made children are now naming their kids funny characters from movies that we love. That being said, that's a hot one. Happy Gilmore better than Billy. You know what? I want to argue with you. I really do. But if I had to pick one, I'm picking Happy Gilmore. And if I really had to pick one, I'm taking Wedding Singer. It's got everything. It's got laughs. I watch it every time. The thing about Adam Sandler movies, the good ones, I watch them anytime they're on, and then you throw in 80s music.
Yeah, and not for nothing, Billy Madison ends with a school shooting. Doesn't really age well in 2023. Whereas Happy Gilmore, it's happy times with Grandma, Chubbs Peterson.
Chubbs.
Happy gets to beat up the alligator who took Chubb's hand.
Oh, no.
I'm always down for that. And by the way, and the girl from Happy Gilmore,
That's
put
true.
her at number one on the list.
Who is that? Julie Bowen? Nice.
Wasn't she? Isn't she with Pete Sampras?
No, that's Billy Madison.
Oh, it's Billy Madison.
Bridget.
Girls from, yes, you're right. Yeah,
God, you're confusing your love interests.
I'm sorry.
Together.
The price is wrong, bitch. I can't. Can you believe that happened? By the way. Anyways,
God, that's
all right.
part two.
Okay, who is up next to take on Happy Gilmore? Oh, that's Jake Paul's music. Jake Paul's next opponent will be pro boxer Andre August. Do we continue discussing the greatness that is Happy Gilmore, both the Ball State golfer and the film, or to move on to Jake Paul?
No, we're not. We will not do a Jake Paul story.
We did Logan last week.
We did Logan last week, and if I had to pick one that I can tolerate, it's Logan. Yeah. So I'm going to kick Jake Paul as hard as I can over the top rope. And you know what?
Jake.
Yeah. Bye. Happy Gilmore. It's not even that I necessarily want to. I mean, he's so young. I wonder how many times he's seen the movie. Does he even appreciate the movie the way we appreciate the movie? Because who is Bob Barker to that Happy Gilmore?
It's a great point by you. And
right?
Did you know that when I did a little thing with the last 2K23 golf release, and in doing the little commercial thing I did, I got to hang out with Shooter McGavin.
Shut up.
It was wonderful. Yeah, no, he's great. He is an awesome dude. I literally was talking to him about nothing but Shooter McGavin, and he's so not the guy who's like, excuse me, I've done other things. My name is Chris McDonald. I've done other things in my life.
No,
and
you haven't.
This. And he
hasn't.
Oh, no. Get this. On the same day that I was doing it, he was nominated for an Emmy.
For what?
For Hacks. Best supporting actor on Hacks.
He is good on Hacks. Okay, but can I say something? On Hacks, he's kind of Shooter McGavin.
He's got a little shooter. No, there's a little shooter there. But I just love that he doesn't take himself too seriously and loves playing into being Shooter McGavin because he understands what the part means to everybody. It's one of those forever characters.
And can we also say another thing? I just watched Dirty Work again the other day with the late, great Norm Macdonald. Yeah. He's in that as well and sort of plays a real estate version of Shooter McGavin. So I love it. Make the argument.
And by the way, you can catch Shooter McGavin hanging out at a Midtown bar on a late weeknight having himself a beverage. It happens.
Is that real?
I promise. Oh, yeah. That's real talk. Next time you get off a flight, high off your gourd from whatever you took to get here, stop by Midtown West. I promise you might find him around. He's in these streets. All right, what do we have next, Beadle?
All right, there's a 7-4 challenger approaching. Oh my goodness. Dum, 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 dum. Wemby said that Madison Square Garden was not as big as he expected before he faced the Knicks, and then he went on to have his worst game of the season so far. So, do we continue discussing the young, hopefully soon-to-be great Happy Gilmore, or do we switch to Wemby's MSG debut?
I mean, I really could keep going on Happy Gilmore. Like, I started getting my hopes up that this thing could go the whole way, but I know you and... Did you go to the game, by the way?
I didn't. I watched it on my couch, which honestly, I made the right choice.
But at the same time, Happy, it's time to go over the top. You had a hell of a run. And can I just say in closing, with all the great things that have happened since Happy Gilmore, the movie, including Tiger Woods, like Tiger is post Happy Gilmore. And I think Tiger and Happy Gilmore are like the two biggest things that help popularize golf for my generation.
Yeah.
Happy still hasn't happened. I kept waiting for like that player who would actually play the game in an exciting fashion. Even the players we love, they're still a bore for the most part.
Yeah, they're not fun yet.
But Wemby is not a bore. And Beadle, I have to admit, I was tickled by the fact that like Knicks fans are such, I believe Knicks fans are the smartest basketball fans in the country. I don't think any basketball base like knows the game quite like the Knicks fans. And I'm a Celtic fan. I know Celtics fans would argue, and so would Laker fans. But Knicks fans have a certain appreciation of irony. And the overrated chant was, mwah. Like, you know they don't really mean it, but they had to do it while he was struggling. It was a good lesson for the kid and a good night for the Knicks.
It was, as soon as he said it's not as big as I thought, or it seems, I remember thinking, crap. But I knew it's not what he meant. I had the same reaction when I saw the Alamo for the first time in San Antonio. It's not a disrespectful moment. It's just a genuinely honest moment. He is 7'4". Everything is smaller. And when you hear about Madison Square Garden around the globe, it is the Mecca. It is the greatest arena. It is the most wonderful place to play basketball, and most great players have had nights there. There's a reason for that. So I'm sure he walked in with all of that adrenaline and all that hype. In no way was it disrespectful, but the overrated chants, man, do I love me some Knicks fans. They've suffered. It's been a long-suffering fan base for quite some time. They just want to win, but at the same time, they do love seeing the greats. And no matter what that game was for Wemby, it will just be one of a few, hopefully, of his crappy ones. And he will have a Garden moment. His first one just wasn't very good.
Yeah, it happens to the best of them. What are you going to say about it? But I did love the Knicks fans. They are very entertaining. Even when the Knicks aren't entertaining, the fans are entertaining. All right, Beadle, up next, you knew we couldn't make it a show without talking about Tay-Tay. Taylor Swift was seen running to kiss Travis Kelce backstage after he attended her show in Argentina during the Chiefs' bye week. Do we want to continue discussing a bad night for Wemby, or are we moving on to the kiss scene around the world?
Man, you're sort of pitting my need to be a jerk against my need to love the Spurs, but once again, the evil wins. So, Victor, we will have many, many more times to talk of you. Gently. I will always say gently with him, by the way.
Yeah, be careful with those lanky ankles on your way out. Over the top you go.
Over the top.
Okay.
What'd you think? What'd you think, love?
Okay, so I've recently started to say, like, you know what?
Okay.
Maybe I was just being a jerk, and like there really is some sort of relationship here. And then when I saw this so obviously staged public first kiss with the run, I mean, it's either just like so fake or I mean, could anyone actually be this cheesy, like by accident?
Aren't you a newlywed? Aren't you supposed to have these feelings right now? Where you run to your loved one that you haven't seen in days. You're so excited they're there in a god-awful shirt and they flew private for 12 hours just to see you. And you changed the lyrics for him? I mean, how is that not love, Peter?
I know. There's nothing like when your man has a bye week and he gets on his private jet and he comes to see you in Argentina.
Yeah.
In Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires.
Yeah, no, listen. We're newlyweds, but we've been together. We went through COVID together, for God's sake. We've been together for 3.5 years. They've been together 3.5 weeks. Yeah, this is a different animal altogether. But yeah, it was just so cheesy. The fact that, the paparazzi just happened to catch her entire walk backstage as she leapt into his arms. It's enough to make it cute.
And it did.
And,
yay!
And it did. Speaking of puke, Beadle.
Oh, God. Okay. This is our final story for the day. Hold on.
This is a battle. Wow.
How did I get
You know what
this?
this is called, by the way?
Come
I'm going
on.
to say this to our producers. This is what you call good booking in the wrestling business. These are two stories you want to see battle at the end of a show.
I know, but I actually want them to physically battle.
I
So,
know.
at UFC 295 at MSG this past weekend, Trump, Kid Rock, and Tucker Carlson entered together and sat cage side. Yep, that is Dana White right there. Do we continue discussing young, beautiful, global love, or do we switch to Trump at UFC 295? I'm glad I don't have to pick this one. Go ahead, Peter. I'm listening.
I'm gonna pick. Listen, the fact is, I don't think Travis and Tay are going anywhere. This was just the first kiss. I mean, this story's playing out for at least as long as the Chiefs make it in the playoffs. So
Great call. Super
whether
Bowl.
that's
Super
week
Bowl.
1, whether it's the Super Bowl, we got plenty. So Travis, Tay, welcome back from Argentina, and over the top you go to make room for a.
Oh my God!
I
Look
mean,
at Kid Rock.
have you ever seen more of a motley crew in history? Trump's gigantic boat-like red tie.
I can't.
Is there anything less gangster than being flanked by Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson,
And
marshmallow if there ever was one.
here's the thing. I don't have a lot of. It's hard for me to find a nice thing to say about the former president.
I'm having trouble.
But I would say I'd expect him to have some idea of kind of what's the image he's trying to put forward when he walks into a large crowd. And even though Kid Rock is a repug, I sort of get why he fits with the Trump image. Tucker Carlson, who, I mean, at least he took his bow tie off for the occasion. I guess that helps. But
That's when
he's
you know
just,
bored.
politics aside, such a dweeb. This is like the worst Survivor Series team in history. I could not believe it. And you can't ever tell what's happening with Trump because obviously when it pops up on social media, everyone has an agenda who's talking about it.
I know. We can't just make fun of it.
Well,
Come
you can't.
on.
The problem is you can't get also a clean call on how he was actually received because the crazies are going to say he got the biggest pop of all time, and the people who hate him are going to be like, no one cared, when the truth was probably somewhere in the middle. But I'm just curious.
I don't know. A UFC fight, that crowd, it might have been a pop.
Oh, no, it was probably
Probably a pop.
I was there for one. I saw him show up to one UFC event, and it was somewhere in the middle. It starts as a cheer, then it turns to this droning boo, and then the people who cheered in the first place feel obligated to argue. All I know is this. Someone get this man a thinner tie. For God's sake, it's taking over his whole shirt. Now.
Wow.
Hold on. I have a topic that's coming out from underneath the ring. Our producers be damned. I don't care what they say. The topic I have is coming out with a chair right to the back of Trump's head, over the top, because you didn't know that my tease had been in the ring the whole time. I got a text message this week from a young man who said, I used to watch Sports Nation every day, and I had the biggest high school crush on Michelle Beadle. I can't believe you're doing a show with her. And I said, wow, I did not expect to hear that from you, Jack Harlow. And that is the most important topic this week. Yeah! Come on!
Wow.
Outta here, Trump.
Well. I mean, I did like White Men Can't Jump, the remake.
By the way, he has a new single that's tremendous. Just came out Friday. Oh, that's right. And I have a hunch on your next Xanax-induced slumber on a flight, you'll be popping a little Jack Harlow on Spotify, and it might hit different, as the kids say. Am I right?
That's awesome. Oh, I had no idea where that was going. And does that mean he gets to be our new undisputed most important thing on planet Earth this week?
Congratulations, Jack.
Congratulations, Jack. And also congratulations me and my ego, because that felt nice. I appreciate it. Thank you, Peter.
You're very welcome. Oh, that was something.
Wow, that's kind of fun.
How you like that?
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, well, that is it for us. Tune in next week to determine the only thing you need to care about and what goes over the top and what celeb used to get teenage boners for Beadle.
Boners.